All right, Shalom family. How's everybody doing? I'm your brother Daweed. This is my wife,
Hokma.
We thank you for taking a moment to join us on this quick podcast for the Go Lightly Perspective. Family, we're going to be talking about what we see when we look in the mirror. Or when we look in the mirror, what do we see? But before we do that, we want you guys to please take a second, like, share the video, give us a thumbs up. We're going to be active in the chat. We're going to talk to everybody because this was a conversation that came to me. I'm not going to say where, but it came to me. And I was just really, really thinking about what we see when we look in the mirror, because this is it's a subjective thing. Mm-hmm. It can be a painful thing. Mm-hmm. And how it relates to what we discuss as family is, if when I look in the mirror, if I don't have a truthful connection with that image, it's going to be very difficult for me to deal truthfully with you. Mm-hmm. I won't have the right concepts. I'll always be portraying something that maybe I am not. Maybe I've only allowed my significant other and the world to interact with my representative. That cropped and edited version that is insincere, that may be slightly dishonest, maybe not by choice, because we are all the combination of the different choices and experiences that we've had up until this moment. So when we look in the mirror and we say we are this, mm-hmm. and we say we are that, are we really this or that? Do we have someone that can look at us in an objective manner? And sometimes that spouse, that significant other, can be a reflection for us as to whether or not what we're portraying is accurate. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts about that? Because that's just a quick little introductory, my introductory comments about when we look in the mirror, mm-hmm. what do we see, and relating it to that self-concept, relating it to family. What do you think about that?
And let's clarify too. When you say look in the mirror, you're not saying what you see in the glass.
Right.
It's really looking and doing a self-examination about who you are, what your beliefs are, what you stand for, the morals, or whatever language you want to use. But it's not your physical expression in the mirror that's being referenced. It's who are you at the core of your existence. Mm-hmm. So now that that's out of the way, I think you made a comment about, you forget. You may feel firm in your belief and know who you are. Looking in the mirror, I'm pretty solid in who I am. Then I go out and I interface with this world. Mm-hmm. And then it makes you question if you really know who you are. Mm. It makes you drawn to question everything that you felt that you believed, and there's always that little doubt that can be placed. Mm-hmm. So I think that a lot of people exist with some level of duality until they really mature and understand things. And that's still subjective.
It is. And you said, you made a great point about just the whole duality, where there's a different side of all of us, mm-hmm. but we can't have too many minds. Mm-hmm. Shalom to everybody that's in the chat. We appreciate y'all for rocking with us. Thank you so much. Blessings to your house. You can't have too many minds, or it causes division. We want to be singular in our thought, in the way that we connect to the world, where another scripture where James said, where we just have to let our yea be yea. So sometimes when we're looking at our identity and we're asking ourselves, well, really, who am I? Now, you can have your heritage. You can have yourself where you're a part of a family. All these things are elements of a person's identity. But then when you look at yourself, are you still blaming yourself for the mistakes of your past? And I know that this goes someplace else in regards to, what do you see when you look in the mirror? Do you see someone that is guilty of things even after you've been forgiven by the Most High? Go ahead.
Are you aware of the mistakes?
Okay.
Is the question. I think if you're aware of the mistakes, it doesn't necessarily mean you've forgiven or gotten over it, or the damage or the trauma that results from those mistakes. So it takes, another level of that self-evaluation to really, come to terms with things and say, I understand this behavior is because of this past trauma or whatever, and then take steps. And I think that's where people have the deficit. What steps are necessary to get to a place of healing? You may know you don't like to feel that way. You may know that, it's dysfunctional even at a certain level, but the repairing part of it is difficult. And I know you talk about therapy.
That's an underserved tool in our community, is actually going out to get someone that is greater than yourself. Because if you have the mind that caused you to have experienced all of this trauma, to be unforgiving toward yourself for the mistakes that you made, or even to be unforgiving toward a loved one, a family member, a parent, where it's holding you down and it's shackling you, you're going to have to get some assistance from someone that is healed. So that's what the scripture, what the Messiah says, those that are whole need not a physician. So if we look at that scripture, is meaning if you're not whole, you need to get a physician. And that may not be a clinical doctor, but you need to get someone that can help you overcome. Please go ahead and finish where you were in regards to that, about therapy.
No, I was just mentioning that you've referenced it, that especially in the Black community is definitely underutilized. And I think there's a stigma that goes along with it.
Yeah.
And it could just be a matter of a lack of resources or knowledge about what therapy is for, is to assist you. And they don't sit there and tell you anything. They kind of help you talk through your problems and get you to kind of figure it out. They kind of frame a discussion as like a guided discussion, talk through things to help you. So even if it's not a clinical therapist or an actual licensed therapist, I mean, an elder, someone with experience in life who has some fruit and evidence of a life that you respect, those people could be a good resource as well. Yeah,
I always advocate that a man goes to his father first and foremost. We advocate for, a certain way of life. Go to your father. And if your father's not capable, then there are others that the Most High will bring into your life that are credible and have the necessary tools to try to help you overcome that which is necessary, that will be beneficial to you. Why? Because you belong to him. You are his. So, of course, he's going to provide someone to be there, or else he wouldn't be all sufficient. He wouldn't be all knowing. He has everything already prepared and mapped out for you. You just have to accept the way that he's already given, if that makes sense. When we look at ourselves in the mirror, even in regards to the trauma, until we're able to heal and get the necessary treatment, it's almost like someone, they're looking at a broken mirror, and really what they have to offer are just shards of themselves, fragments of themselves, because they've been so broken. And we've all been there. Mm-hmm. I've been broken. Mm-hmm. I've been broken. But if I never got healed, then I wouldn't be able to be whole and complete. With you, I would still just be giving, in the words of Aaron Hall, giving you a piece of my love. I could only give you a piece of me because I wasn't whole and complete. And that's why we're advocating therapy, fathers, elders, those that can help us be whole when we look in the mirror and not forget what we are.
And then also, you can use these same elders or, people in your life whom you respect as a mirror. Mm-hmm. If they're giving you feedback about certain things, you can't remain in denial, and you can't say that it's not occurring or explain it away. If it's a pattern or a trend in behavior, then I think it is your responsibility or our responsibility as people in a relationship with anyone. If my husband's telling me, something isn't right, I can't stand there and defend it.
Right. So that's a good point. Oftentimes one of our initial responses is denial when we look in the mirror or someone else is looking at our reflection, because what we think we're reflecting may not be accurate. Yeah. And, I lost my train of thought. So I got it back now. So when that you have a wife and a husband dynamic that we talked about hierarchy in the last conversation, that a wife can't say that I'm a good wife. That needs to come from the person, from that husband who she's being a wife to. Right. So he should be able to do that. So if what she's saying may be contrary to what he's saying, she has to be willing to take that feedback. And if that husband, that knife, it's a double-edged sword. If I'm thinking that I'm being a good leader and a good communicator, which I've projected, I'm a pretty articulate guy, but oftentimes I'll rush and I'll presume that I communicated something, and you like, baby, you never said that. I'm like, but I must have inferred it some kind of way. So we have to be willing to take that level of communication and even, suggestion and correction, because it goes both ways. Did you have something that you wanted to share about that?
I just kind of wanted to go back to the, opening point. I know we've had some recording issues. I don't know what part got captured, but you were referencing, how do you heal? How do you even, address the traumas? Or you asked me, I think before we even started recording, about my own traumas or experiences and how I've arrived at a place or what my process may be when I look in the mirror and reflect. So I think, along the journey to where we are today, there have been lots of points of, evaluation, looking in the mirror, the proverbial mirror rather, and just saying, what's really going on here? And it's I don't like to have duality. It causes confusion for me. I don't like that feeling. I don't like to feel like things are just happening to me. I don't like that feeling. So I like to understand, everything that I feel. And I know that's not possible to understand everything, but as much as I can, I'd like to understand. So a lot of times, it's questioning, we get to a certain point. And then it's like you go out into the world and you realize just how different you are. Right. And it can kind of give you a little, initially it made me a little uneasy, a little weird, because everybody's, asking all these questions and you don't really feel the need to explain yourself to anybody. But at the same time, you do feel the need to explain yourself.
Sometimes,
right?
Yes.
Yes. So it just, over time, I think with your encouragement and just, your guidance and your steadfast, unchanging, way about the way that you lead our family, that gave me always this point of reference, that was what I needed to look to. I didn't need to be concerned about the rest of it because, I work out, in corporate America, it's kind of rough out there sometimes.
It can be tough.
Yeah. So, I think that the part that kept me able to continue to make the changes and to recognize the error was because, you. And I'm not just saying that because he's sitting here. But, when you realize that what you've always thought was normal is a result of erroneous thought.
Yeah. That can be hard.
Yeah, it's hard because that's all you've ever known. You're like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not letting that go. What do you mean? You want me to wear what? No, I'm not wearing that. You want me to put what? A head wrap? I don't think so.
And see, we have to be willing to take it in and then, process it, make it a part of ourselves, internalize these things that if one that is, really has your best interest in heart is trying to assist you in becoming. And so you have to ask yourself, what am I becoming in the process of one being around this person, these people, in whatever task that I'm performing? Is not just what I'm doing. Look at what you are becoming. If it's leading you into ultimately becoming the image, that's we talking about image and what we see in the mirror. If it's causing you to be a more righteous, more vertical image of the Most High, then that's a beautiful thing, because we say that we were made in the image of God. Now, I have to preface that I'm talking about the God of the Hebrews. I'm not talking about anything. There are other deities that people worship, that they venerate. That's fine. I'm only talking about being made in the image of the supreme intellect, the tribal deity of our fathers. Yod He Wav He, Yahuwah. That's the only deity that I'm talking about. So people can say that they're made in the image of God, whatever. That's fine. I'm only talking about this group, their deity. So if we say we're made in his image, he gave us characteristics. He's given us a nature that we have to not only project, we have to reflect. And if we're not doing that, then that requires that we change. It requires that we grow. It requires that we begin to live up to our higher selves and to have a greater frequency, a greater connectivity to him. And it don't feel good all the time. Sometimes it hurts because, as you said, you have to release some core issues that were given to you. People say that, well, God knows who I am. He knows what he made me. First of all, he didn't make you a liar. He didn't make you promiscuous. He didn't make you any other way than what the text says. Now, this society can mold you into something that is a hybrid, something that is a mutated talent.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
Do you think that response of, he made me like this is an excuse for not being honest with self without, having to really face the fact that you may need to change? You're a liar. You may need to change, and that's something people don't want to accept. So it's like, I'm not a liar. This is how I was made. I'm not a whore. I'm promiscuous. You made me like this. I
gotta have mine. So
is that an excuse, or is it?
It's absolutely an excuse for lack of accountability. You don't want to be held accountable for the choices that you made. Therefore, you try to plant or firmly connect the argument consciously into the framework of who you are, into your being. This is who I be. This is who I am because of what he made me. And that's just an accusation against the Father when he hasn't given any of us license to do anything that is contrary to him. So if we find ourselves in that way, which is I found myself in that place quite often. I'm speaking from a place of experience. I'm speaking from a place of one that could look in the mirror and see his image and say, man, you have to change, because the God of the Hebrews is not going to change for you. So if I want to please him, I have to now convert myself to his standards, to his metrics. See, how are we measuring? That's the thing. You know, what is the litmus? What is the measure that we're using to evaluate, to critically evaluate what our image is?
Depends on who you're asking.
Well,
I mean, a lot of people use the world as their measuring stick.
yes.
And if it's acceptable there, then, you know, I'm not that bad because so-and-so was really wilding out. I just wilded out a little bit. So, you know, if you're using another fool's issues as your litmus to your righteousness, then of course you're going to fall short. You're going to mess up. So a lot of people just don't even take the time to really consider what it is that they should look to as an example.
See, people, it's easy for them to justify bad behavior because they juxtapose it. Everybody does. Everyone does. Yes. They juxtapose it with extremes. So I'm not extreme as this person, so I must be a little better than them. However, we're still falling short of what our deity has told us that we should be. And that's what we're trying to strive for. That is the image. So when we look in the mirror, is it what he says that we should be? And if it isn't, first of all, try to get help from above, from one that's greater, from, you know, get counseling. Seek out those that, like you said, that have verifiable fruit in the area, that are whole. You know, some people really need, you know, some clinical help because our people have been abused. We've been destroyed. We've been stepped on. We've been broken. We've been battered, which is, I understand that that's necessary so that they could remake us and form us. Right. Shout out Shimka and Jay Lutch. Form us into what he needed for us to be so that they can capitalize and take advantage off of our dysfunction. That's exactly what they need from us. In order, I'm gonna try not to go off task. So we can recover if we go step by step, taking our time, getting back to that original image and likeness. Because if we say that we are the people, if we say, oh, you know, peace, King, shalom, King, you know, we say shalom, you know, what's going on, Queen? We like to give these titles, these flattering titles. We like to heap adulation upon one another when we have not earned, we have not merited that. When are we going, if that's what you're saying you are, when are you going to be it? When are you going to display that character and that nature? When can you really look in that mirror and others examine you and say, "Ooh, that sister"?
We have to stop looking at the outer cup.
The outer cup.
Yeah, you can dress up any kind of way you want.
I like to look nice. I like to dress up.
I mean, I think that, hey, you don't have to be downtrodden.
Nah.
You know, hey.
Nah.
But we got to stop.
But we can't put the focus on that. I get you.
Right. You got to stop. And yes, Isabella, we've got to heal that inner child trauma, because most of the trauma that we face is usually during childhood. You know, I'm sure. And it has such a lasting impact and effect because, you know, a very young mind trying to process these, you know, negative things and without in the context of any kind of assistance from a therapist or any kind of help at all.
Yes.
You know, you're just, children are resilient. They'll be fine. They'll, you know, they snap back. Yeah, they do. They go on through life, but it's not without struggle. It's not without, failure after failure and not really understanding why. Until you really take that time and look and say, why is it that whenever Jeff comes in the room dancing, I get angry? Well, you think back to when you were a child, because every time your dad came in the room dancing, he would beat on your mother.
You haven't done that personal accountability. Go ahead.
Right. So it's just, you have to really take inventory of why, the why.
The why.
What are these triggers a result of? And in order for you to even arrive at a better position, first you have to acknowledge that you're not in the position that is desired.
Yeah.
And not make excuses to remain in that place, not make excuses to be, who I am. I was made this way. I'm going to stay this way and all is well.
Yeah.
You can't do that. It's just not, it's not productive to anybody.
It isn't. And, even to the point, a lot of the traumas, a lot of our belief systems can be traced back to childhood. Most of us are who we are by the time we're 5, 6-year-olds, 6-year-old. Our consciousness has already been formed. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to be transparent. Some trauma of my own from childhood was very early.
Right.
In childhood. My parents divorced when I was only 2 years old. But yet, you would think, oh, she wouldn't remember that.
Yeah.
She's 2. She won't remember. But I remember, little flashes of detail about that. And I just remember, things that, I had separation
anxiety. You did.
Yep. Attachment issues, that took some really, intentional steps to understand.
Yeah. And for men, if you're, you have to consider that vessel that you want to make your own. Everybody, I always say everybody got a little bit of crazy, but you got to determine what crazy you can deal with. Do you have the skill sets to try to help this woman, to try to help them heal and to recover, to get back to a place and not just be predacious, not just be a predator, not just try to take advantage? Because I can tell you about some trauma. I had some trauma, and we, in the streets, brothers, in our, the way I grew up, the girls that had daddy issues were oftentimes the ones that you would go after. They would be easier victims versus the one that had a father that was there, that reaffirmed them, that confirmed them, that protected them, that shielded them, that they didn't know lack. They didn't have that anxiety. That man that told them they were beautiful and that they would protect them, that danced with them. That man that did that made that daughter a more difficult victim of sexual exploitation. You see what I'm saying? So some women, some young girls, if they have not had a man that is constantly, or that has told them that they're beautiful and given them that attention, that reaffirms them. Thank you. That when a man comes along and shares, baby, you beautiful, you're this, you're that, they're a little more willing to lend their ear, because women are prone to whisper and to hear those whispers, careless whispers.
I think too that, through the birth of our daughter.
Oh, that changed me.
Well, it changed and made me understand some things too.
Yeah.
I never felt that, my parents' divorce. I knew it was an issue. I knew I could attribute some of my behavior to that, but I didn't realize it until I got older.
Yes.
So when she was born, and right around the age of 2, I would just, observe the relationship that you had with her. I was very attentive to that relationship. And I just saw how close you all were. I saw how she would just light up when you just walk in the room, and, everything was just her and daddy. And in my mind, I was like, it has to be more to it. What happened in my life? Why did that end?
Yeah.
And I started having compassion and understanding, everybody's got their own story. So I didn't so much as look at myself as the victim. I started to try to understand my parents. a bit more and not judge what had happened.
And that's good, because until you release that judgment of your parents, you can never advance and move to a place of wholeness and completeness, because you're harboring something. You have to stay in a child's position because you don't know what caused them to have that divorce. You don't know what caused them to be where they are and to make those decisions. You don't know. There are people that are phenomenal fathers, but not so good husbands. Great mothers, but horrible wives, horrible baby mamas. You follow what I mean? It's a completely different station. So stay in a child's position and forgive them. Forgive yourself.
Right.
Forgive them for the mistakes. And when you release them, your children can release you. Those other burdens that you were carrying around will just begin to fall off of you, because now you're not traveling so heavy. You don't have so much baggage.
And you're not going to always get the information that you want. That's why it's important to work on yourself.
Yes.
You can't go back and make, there's so many people that hold on to things and issues from childhood that they want, oh, daddy need to apologize to me. Your father doesn't have to apologize to you.
Right. You
don't answer to him. I don't care what he did.
He doesn't answer to you.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. You are not his superior.
Right.
So, right. He doesn't answer to you. So you don't need to be expecting any adult that was an adult when you were a child to sit down with you and just grovel and give you some type of an apology.
You may be waiting for an apology that you're never going to get. You're never going to get it. It'll never happen. So forgiveness is not for that person. Forgiveness is really so that you can be released, so that you can move forward, so that you don't have these burdens. So I would invite you, family, please consider, forgive your parents for the pain. Right. Forgive those that are in your past that have hurt you. Forgive them for the betrayal. Forgive them for the trauma. Forgive them for the hurt, all the disappointments, everything that has held you back and caused you to say, I ain't never gonna trust nobody like that again. I ain't never gonna let nobody hurt me like that again. You're making vows. You are snared by the words of your mouth. Blessings and cursings proceed from the words that we speak. So please be careful. Please consider what you're saying that you will or you will not allow, who you'll never forgive, who you'll never release. You could take those words to your grave. And that's not what the Father wants. When he wants us to not be callous, he doesn't want us to be hard. He doesn't want us to be stony. And I know we've experienced some things out here in these streets. And I know it hurts. But like he said in Ezekiel 11, he said, I will give you a heart of flesh. I'm going to take away that stony heart. And I'm going to give you a heart of flesh where you can believe again, where you can hope again, where you can love again. You're willing to be vulnerable again, not to any and everybody. I'm not advocate for that now. You got to be wise. You can't open yourself up to people that, like I said earlier, that are predacious, that want to take advantage.
Yeah. A lot of those. It's
a lot of people out there. But I want you to understand, family, that you are fearfully and wonderfully made in a beautiful God. We're talking about the God of the Hebrews. And we want you to get to that point where you reflect that in your image, in your constitution, as you're walking, when you're talking. It ain't even got to be this whole religious conversation. They can just say, whoo, there's something different about her. It's something different about him. And it's not because you walking down the street, all praise, glory and honor be to the Most High Yah. Hallelujah. Bahashem HaMashiach Yahushua. Kwam Yashra'Allah. It ain't because you doing all that. My very presence liberates those and connects with them. And it's like they spirit connect with my spirit. And it's like, that brother, that sister, it's something different about them. When you look at the image that you portray in the mirror. Come on, baby. I know you got something else to say before we wrap this
No,
up.
it was just, even for me, understanding that the way I viewed a marriage was wrong.
Uh-oh. Come on. I need sips coffee.
I know it's cold, but the way that I viewed marriage was just wrong. And it came from a place of not knowing.
Right.
It was just ignorance. I thought in my mind I had conceptualized, what it should be.
Mm-hmm.
But in the biblical context, I was wrong.
See, here's the thing.
I was wrong.
It is. And I want to say this in that we'll take this concept of marriage, which is Hebraic. It is biblical.
Mm-hmm.
We'll take the concept of marriage and the institution of it, and we won't do everything else that's associated with it in terms of the roles and responsibilities of these two peoples, the roles of the husband, the roles of the wife. We completely alleviate that and we make that up. You see what I'm saying? We edit that out, but then we think that we can get to the conclusion of what he said or the solution or the end that he says that it will bring of two becoming one. If you don't know your role and your responsibility, you cannot get to that outcome because it'll be based in falsehood and true and dishonest assumptions. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah, that's good. Because you have to see it. It's not something you just learn through osmosis. And even if you did read the scripture and you read about, unless you see it in action, it's still hard.
Yeah.
So again, I just told y'all, divorced parents.
My parents divorced as well.
Right. So when you and I decided to get married, what did we say?
This is it.
Was there another option?
Mm-mm. Divorce is never on the table.
Right. So there, we made that conscious choice from the beginning that we were going to ride this thing out. We were going to figure it out because I think that said to us, we know we might not know what we're doing, but we're going to give it our best shot. And we
had some tough times, like
19 years next week.
It'll be nice. Oh man, give me some.
19 years next week.
We've had some tough times. We've had some growing pain. It's required a great deal. But when you take so many people have these red lines. I'm gonna say this and we're gonna stop. I don't want my battery to die. And we've talked about this before. You can't say for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, until death do us. And then under the same breath, you say unless you do this, A, B, C, D. Then nigga, I'm done. Or partner, I'm done. Now, as a man, I gotta say, I got some red lines. There's some things that's off limits. You follow what I mean? But we got to be open and honest and transparent in advance. And if at any point what you want from that relationship changes, then please be honest and communicate that with the person, because we grow. You want to be able to grow together, to expand together. But if you don't communicate that, there's just this assumption, well, you should know. No, right. We all have to communicate. Go ahead, baby.
That was another error too, that I didn't think I should have to tell you things. You would just know.
Oh, bless you.
If you love me, you would just know what I want.
Oh, that's nonsense. That's nonsense. That's immaturity.
I know it.
Yeah, that's and I hear TV. Stuff like that. That's TV.
That's TV giving me
that's damn Hallmark.
Right.
Television movies.
And then back to what you said about the roles. I mean, that's super important. But again, back to the divorce, I can trace a lot of my issues back to being raised primarily by a single mother, matriarchal, family structure. You sleeping, baby? No.
We good. I just need oxygen.
Breathing. The matriarchal family structure, all of that, without having, the example, and then seeing my mother as the strength, the front runner, the everything, so it's like, oh, I can do this just like you can, Hodge. But I didn't never think I was at the whole independent thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's witchcraft. That's a spell that they've cast over our women,
Right.
and it's caused us to be at a huge disadvantage. That's why our women are being preyed upon. That's why our families are being destroyed. That's why only 1 in 4 of our sisters will end up getting married. And even if we look within the culture, within the Israelite tradition, the numbers are probably even worse.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably even worse. It's very, very difficult.
With the divorce?
No, just being able to find a husband.
Oh, yeah.
The numbers are even worse. So, those are, conversations that we'll have going forward, because we have to consider why we do what we do.
Mm-hmm.
It is essential, man. So any closing remarks before we wrap this up, because we've been going for a little less than an hour,
45 minutes.
45 minutes. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. We appreciate everybody that's rocking with us, that's commenting. Isabella, Tasha Lewis, appreciate you. Blessings to each and every one of you. If y'all been getting something from this, come on, give me a 7 in the chat. If we've been giving you guys something that's beneficial, something that you can take home, because what we want to do is add value. We want you to leave here with something. Mm-hmm. We're not just here to entertain. We're not just here to make you feel good. We're not just here just to try to make people follow us. That is so not our objective.
No, and I think for both of us, it's important that, marriage.
Oh, bless you. She said 7, but really it's 10.
Thank you so much.
Bless you.
Marriage is an institution that definitely needs to be restored. And we need to look to the, biblical definition of what that is.
Okay.
Women need a covering of a righteous man. And it's not about, these butterflies. I mean, I get butterflies about my husband. Awesome. But it's not about, that's not the primary thing. It's not about how somebody makes you feel. Mm-hmm. It's about the function of it. And that's another error that we've bought from the world. That if all of a sudden I don't feel good about whatever it is, then I can go and exercise my options elsewhere.
Yeah, I can leave. I can hit the eject button.
And that's dangerous for a woman. Women honestly have to really, be honest with themselves about what you're really capable of and what you're really qualified for. Because if you really think about it, men have far more value in a lot of ways.
I'll let you unpack that. I'll let you unpack that one.
Well,
and clarify,
So not that women aren't valuable. I don't want to say it that way. But what I'm saying is once you're damaged by, 3, 4 relationships, you have to really be honest with yourself to say, what is my value now moving forward? That's what I mean.
Okay. And even, if you're trying to enter into a relationship and you may have children from previous marriages,
exactly.
You have, divorces under the label, under your belt. There's a lot of things that can, and when we say value, it may just be the potential of getting another mate. Yes. Another husband.
That's all I'm talking about. In the marketplace, what is your
in the
value?
Marketplace? Yeah.
Not
is someone
that
willing?
All people are valuable.
Correct.
That's not what I'm saying. Let me clarify that and make it very clear.
Yeah.
No, but I am saying just thank you for that clarification, adding that further explanation, because that is exactly what I'm referencing. Once you've, gone through these relationships and now you got this baggage, this issue.
And that value, you're ultimately asking another man to pay what you want.
Fix what somebody else
you asking somebody else to pay that price. So if that man has to pay the price, he has to consider it.
Mm-hmm.
And he can't just consider how you look. He has to consider
Right.
everything that you're bringing.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you bring,
Mm-hmm.
increases the likelihood that he will not be willing to take on all of that responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. Anybody can. We're not trying to, dissuade people from believing in marriage and institution.
Mm-mm.
We can have, real adult conversations, but we just have to be honest about the bag of goods that we've been sold as a community. And we're seeing with the divorce rate, with the lack of marriage rate, with I'm at the grocery store or out and about, and I see women, so many Black women that are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and it's no ring on the finger. Mm-hmm. No one has claimed them.
No one has made their list.
Right. No one has made them their own.
Mm-hmm.
And it happens so frequently. And maybe they want it that way. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. That is neither here nor there with me, but it definitely speaks volumes to what we're producing or becoming as a group.
I think when people say they don't want that's just a pacification of their reality.
I can rock with that.
Just my opinion.
I can believe that.
We all have one. Just thought I'd share mine.
Right on. All right, family. Well, bless you. We give all praise, glory, and honor to the God of our fathers. I thank him that I'm the son of William, who's the son of Daniel, who's the son of Freeman, who was the son of George. Thank you guys for rocking with us on the Go Lightly perspective. Please take a moment. Definitely, if you've got something, thumb it up, share it, throw it in a story, send us a comment, send us a message letting us know maybe something that you may like for us to cover, because we got a lot to share. We got some experience. We got some skin in the game. We've been in the game for quite some time, and I don't subscribe to. I'll save that for another day. I've already said my piece. Shalom, family. I cannot read that. I can't read that. I'll get a little bit closer.
Far away.
It is far away.
We wear glasses sometimes.
The what?
I said we wear glasses.
Straight up, man. We're going to go ahead and go out.
I can't see it.
With a little vibe. All right, that's it, family. All right. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, everyone.